Okay, yeah, you all are welcome. So today we're going to be doing an introduction of the drum staff, how to understand the drum piece. For those of us who don't understand how to sight play on drums, so this is an introduction for beginners for you to understand. Okay, this is how you are able to identify each note on the drums and also be able to interpret the drum piece when you see one. So, first of all, this is a staff, music staff, and it is made up of 5 lines and 4 space. And the numbering or the counting of the staff starts from the line below. So you start from here. This is the first line, the second line, the third line, the fourth line, the fifth line. So you start from the down to the top, not from the top to the down. And the same thing with the space. You start from the down to the top. So this is one, two, three, and four. So that is how you count, or that is how you gradually progress on your stuff when you're counting the line of the space. When you're hearing the third line, the fourth line, the fifth line, you should know the counting starts from below, not above. And you can see here, you can see drum notation uses 5 parallel lines called a staff, just like other melodic instruments. So the placement of the drum and cymbal on this staff is similar to the map. So where each drum or cymbal has its own place on the line. And if you come down to this part, just to save our time, so a standard setup placement is known as drum key. Okay, let's just save our time and come here straight. On this part, you would see that this is an X, just like an X letter. And then we have these are music notes. These are notation. But this notation is used to represent a hi-hat. So you can see that the symbol for the hi-hat is different from the other normal note symbols. So the symbol we use for any of the cymbals, whether the hi-hat or the crash or the ride or any of the cymbals or the splash, whatever symbol you're using, the symbol for that cymbal for the note is different from that of every other drums, every other drum part. So here you would see this is hi-hat foot. The foot for the hi-hat is written below the first line. Remember I said we start counting the line from below, not from above, the line of the staff. So you would see here that the symbol for the hi-hat is resting below the first line. That's the hi-hat with foot. You know, there are two ways. There's hi-hat with foot and there's hi-hat with hand. Now the one with hand, you don't see anything written with hand, but it's just stated hi-hat. Then the one with foot is indicated hi-hat with foot. But in case you don't see, that's where you see the indication here. So here you will see just hi-hat. There's no indication of this. This is with hand. That means with the stick. You're playing the hi-hat with the stick, with the drumstick. So this is the hi-hat with the drumstick, and there's the hi-hat with the foot. And then hi-hat with foot. And here, the first space of the staff is for the kick. The kick, that's the bass drum. The bass drum. That's what the first space is for. Then the second space, pay attention, this is the second space, not the second line. The second space. Let me see if I can zoom this a little. Here you can see this is the second space. Now the second space is for the floor tom, now which can also be referred to as the side drum. So it's for the floor tom, that's the second space. And then the third space is for the popularly known snare drum. It's for the snare drum. And then now you would see the mid tom is coming on the fourth line. The mid tom is coming on the fourth line, and then the high tom is coming on the fourth space. And then we have the right cymbal resting on the fifth line, and then we have the hi-hat, which is usually played with a stick, or the drumstick resting, okay, now resting above the fifth line. The ride is on the fifth line, while the the hi-hat is resting above the fifth line. And then you would see in music, this is referred to as a ledger line. That's an additional line, that additional lines that are added to the staff to be able to place the music notes. So there are some invisible lines above all of those. There are invisible ledger lines. So when you want to place a note, either below or above, you that's when you bring in those ledger lines. So here you would see a line, the first ledger line above the fifth line of the staff. You have the crash on that line. So now if you should check all of them together, you will see here we have the this is a 5-piece drum set, a 5-piece drum set notation. So where you have the ride, the crash, the hi-hat, and then you have the floor tom, the snare drum, the side tom, the side tom. So you have, so in drum notation, we use a special symbol called the drum clef. So it's a drum clef we use. Now some drum notation, you would see a note such as, you see a symbol such as bass clef. So sometimes you might see a bass clef symbol, but usually when you see a symbol that looks like two blocks standing close to each other, now that is a drum notation. This is a drum notation here, this particular symbol here. So this is a drum notate, sorry, the drum clef, sorry, this is a drum clef. So that's the clef we use for the drums, just like how the treble clef, you can see the treble clef on almost all instruments, instrument like the saxophone, the piano, the guitar, the bass guitar. So yeah, the bass guitar most times see the bass clef. So you could see this treble clef on most string instruments, horns, and the rest of them. So yeah, so this is just for you to go to understand the staff and the placement of the drums part on the staff. And then you would see here the clef, that is the symbol that is used here is the drum clef. That's what is used on this particular sheet here. That was used to explain the part of the drum, the placement of the part of the drums on the clef. So while we go down, I will scroll down. You will see there is what we also call a time signature and tempo. Now, time signature and tempo is very important for a drummer. So we have the regular time, such as the 4/4 time, and then 6/8 and all of that. Sometimes we also have irregular times, such as 7/8, and timing that is not as regular as the 4/4. You understand? So uh, here you also need to understand how the notation, how the timing, a time signature is being noted on a piece. Now, this is for all musicians that side play, not just for drummers. So, if you're a musician, you side play, you need to understand how a time signature notation is written on a drum, on a music piece, not just a drum, on a music piece. Because if you don't understand that, you find it very difficult to be able to play along or to even side play. So, time signature is different from the tempo. The tempo refers to how fast or how slow the music goes. But the time signature is what directs the style of music you're playing. So it helps you understand the piece itself. So let's proceed and see. This is a lot of notes here. You will see when you look at the drum sheet here, we are referring strictly, uh, the explanation here is strictly for drummers. So when you look at the drum sheet music, you will often see two numbers start at the beginning of the staff. Now, time signature is usually at the beginning of the staff, immediately after the clef. It comes immediately after the clef. So at the beginning of the staff, immediately after the clef, that's when the time signature comes in. Sorry about that. Now, that those two numbers that are stacked are referred to as time signature. Now they show how many beats in a bar. So you get to understand what a bar and all of that means. Now it will show you how many beats you have in a bar. Now a time signature will tell you the type of beat and the number of beats. So that's what the time signature tells you. It tells you the type of beat and the number of beats. So the number you see above tells you the number of beats you are to play in that bar. So, and then the number you see below tells you the type of, it refers to the note itself. That's the type of beat you're playing, the note itself. While the number above refers to the the number of that note you're going to play. So I'm going to explain that very soon. So a beat is the basic unit of time in music, similar to the rhythm you feel when dancing, clapping, tapping your foot along the song. So music is divided into bars or measures. So when you hear bars or you hear measures, they're referring to the same thing. So by var vertical lines called bar lines. So you can have a music of 8 bars when you hear people saying 8 bars, 16 bars, and all of that. So each bar contains a set number of beats, a set number of beats determined by the time signature. Now, the time signature is what determines the set number of beats. Now, that beat might have subdivisions and all of that, but the time signature is what determines the set number of beats. Now, the top number tells you how many beats in each bar, while the bottom number indicates the type of notes that count as one beat. Now, the top number tells you how many beats in each bar, while the bottom number tells you the number of notes, indicate the type of notes that count as one beat. Now, for example, the time signature 4/4 means there are 4 beats in a bar, and each beat is equal to a quarter note. Now, each single grouping of that beat will give you a quarter note. And that's the meaning of a 4/4 time. 4 beats in a bar, but each beat standing to form one beat in that bar must be equal to a quarter note. Now, this is the most common time signature and is often shown as a big C for common time. So most times when you see a big C, you should know that you're referring to a 4/4 time. So when you say big C, there's no time signature in the place of time signature after the clef. You're seeing a big C, just know you're referring to a 4/4 time. So that's for a 4/4 time. Now this is how a 4/4 time is indicated. You can see it on the screen. Now another example is a 12/8, where there are 12 beats in a bar. Now one bar has 12 beats, and each beat is what an 8th note. Each beat is what an 8th note. So you have 12 beats in the bar, and each beat is what an 8th note. So here you have, there are some examples of different time signature and how they sound. So let's take a look. That's, you could see one. Now this has 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So now meaning you have a full rhythm in a bar. You have a full rhythm in a bar. Most times, every time, you should have a full rhythm in a bar. Now you could also see there's a 3/4 where you have. Now for this 4/4 time here, you have 4 quarter notes in a bar. Here you have 2 quarter notes in a bar for the 2/4. For 3/4 you have 3 quarter notes in a bar. For the 6/4 you have 6 quarter notes in a bar. And then for the 3/8 you have 3/8 notes in a bar. For the 6/8 you have 6/8 notes in a bar. For the 12/8 you have 12/8 notes in a bar. So we're going to demonstrate this in another class, not in this class precisely. This is just an introduction class, so we're still going to demonstrate all of this with the metronome and playing it for you to see how they sound. So now that is for time signature. Now when it comes to a tempo refers to the speed of the music. Now measured in beats per minute. So BPM, beats per minute. That's the meaning of BPM. You see there. A higher BPM means a faster tempo, and a lower BPM means a lower tempo. For example, if a song has a tempo of 60 beats per minute in a 4/4 time, that means there are 60 beats in 1 minute. 60 beats in 1 minute, and each of the 4/4 notes in each bar will happen once per second. Now, the tempo affects how the music feels, the feel of the music. Are you going fast or are you going slow? The likes of uh, the blues, the likes of hip hop, the likes of jazz. Now, each of this gospel, each of those songs have different feels. So the feels of those songs, the feel of those songs, most times, um, certain percentage of that feel is handled by the tempo of the song. And then this is the notation of how a tempo is indicated. You see a quarter note, and you see an equals to sign, and you see a number in front of the equals to sign. So this is indicating 60 beats per minute. So when you see a sign like this, it's referring to a tempo. So we also have what is called note value, how long to play. So in the next lecture, we're going to be talking about the note value and how long to play. So for now, we're going to stop here today because we don't want this video to be too long. So thank you for watching and stay tuned. Thank you.